All right. The question is, do you think you have free will? A bunch of people's like quick answers to this question would probably be like a resounding yes. We all have free will because I decide what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I decide where I'm going to go today. But really, if you think about it, you don't have free will in some ways. In some ways or another, it depends on what you believe in. Depends on if you believe in fate, depends on if you believe in like a higher power or like a predetermined future. Because, yes, you can say some of your life is 100% like you can't control it. You can't control where you're born. You can't control what religion you're born into. You can't control some of the first friends you make, where you go to school. All these like predetermined things that you can't control, but whenever you grow up, whenever you grow out of that, you can decide who you're going to be friends with. You can decide what you're going to eat for breakfast instead of your mom just making you breakfast. But are those decisions your own? Because if you think about it, we are all just animals. And that's weird to say because you don't think of yourself as an animal. Everything on earth happens because of cause and effect. And let me tell you this, every decision you make is because of cause and effect. That might sound weird off the bat. Like it might sound weird, but think about it. If I said apple or banana, think of one in your head. If you had to eat one right now, pick an apple or a banana. If you have that in your head right now, say you pick banana. 100 times out of 100, if we rewinded time, you would always pick banana. In your head, you would never pick apple because you might, so let's say like 10 years ago, you may have eaten an apple and you hated it. You may be allergic to apples. That's cause and effect. You might just like bananas more than apples. These are all things that are causes to why you pick banana. Or let's say you pick a restaurant to go eat at. Say I gave you the choice between McDonald's and Wendy's. Which one are you going to go eat lunch at? You say, I want to go get a Big Mac. This is because of cause and effect. Maybe the Wendy's ads get on your nerves. Maybe you had a really good experience at like a I can't speak. Maybe you had a really good experience at like a McDonald's or something. These are all causes to why you pick McDonald's. These are all causes and cause and effect. And those people that say like, "Oh, I'm going to test my free will," and they just do something crazy, that's also cause and effect. Like I know I've done that before where I'm like, I'm going to test my free will right now and I'm going to run 6 miles. The things that prompted you to do that was from your own brain, from your own like chemicals in your brain that thought like, "Oh, I'm going to go against my free will because I think that I don't have free will." That thought was the cause of you running the miles. So if you rethink your life in that way, it's really trippy to think none of your decisions are based on your own decision, if that makes sense. And I'm not one to believe in fate. I don't think everybody has like a predetermined where their life is going to end up eventually, but I do think that everybody is operating off of cause and effect, and I don't think that is deniable in any way. Also, this isn't just me yapping. Neuroscience itself, I have a little bullet point right here on my notes. Neuroscience shows that your brain starts to preparing for a decision before you even consciously make it. Like, have you ever just woken up and just stood up out of bed and then you don't even realize like what's happening until you're already standing up? Stuff like that always happens. Or sometimes, example I think of sometimes is sometimes I'll be sitting on the couch or something, I'll be like, I really need to get up. I've been sitting here for like 3 hours. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to get up in my own head. And like, I just get up. And like, I don't even think about it. And right now, I'm not even thinking about moving my arms. This is just like something your body does on its own. And it's such a weird thing. But on the contrary, I think we are one of the smartest animals. We are the smartest animal, actually. There's not really denying that. I think in our heads, we are able to reason. And that's something that a lot of animals and a lot of like things on earth just can't do is reasoning. And as people who are able to reason, the cause and effect of things can get some like blurry background. So if I say like say the apple and banana thing, the apple and banana example. you might have to think for a second if I put an apple and banana in front of you, because you don't immediately click to like, oh, that time that I ate an apple and it made my throat itchy. Like, that happens to me. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. But instead of thinking that, you think like, I also don't really like bananas that much, so maybe apples are worth it. So you reason back and forth, but ultimately, in your head, you'll come up with something that is the result of a cause. Advertising in America is also such a huge thing. That's something I also have to talk about. Advertising is like a huge part, like a huge push into like the subconscious mind of people. Like during football games and stuff, they'll play like ads and stuff in between like like not touchdowns, but they'll play it between like timeouts. I literally couldn't think of the word. I've played football like half of my life. The ads they play during football games, like college football or NFL, they don't expect you to see the ad. They don't expect you to see like Wendy's. Like, I'm just keep using Wendy's as an example. But they don't expect you to see a Wendy's ad and immediately go out and be like, oh, I want a Biggie box. I want a Biggie bag or whatever it's called. And just immediately go out after you see the ad and buy something. That's not what they shoot for. That's not what any advertisement company shoots for, unless you're like one of those like ads that has like the number and they're asking you to like call the number or whatever. They're not expecting immediate results like from their advertisement. They're expecting you to get into your like subconscious mind. And this sounds like I'm being like a conspirator or something, but that's just how it is. That's like how it works, because they're banking on the fact that next time you go out to buy fast food, you think like, oh, a Biggie bag sounds pretty good right now. A Wendy's 4 for 4 sounds good right now. But really, in the back of your mind, subconsciously, you're thinking back to the time that you saw an ad or something, and you're like, that sounds good right now. Or you're thinking back to the time where one of your friends suggested it or something. There will always be a cause and effect to your decisions. The more conscious you are of the reasoning behind you do things, the reason why, the things you ask why to. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out. But whenever you ask why you make certain decisions, you become more free in a sense, because you understand the cause and effect of your decisions. So it's not like you're just a robot moving out throughout life. And a lot of people do this. A lot of people, see like the things they do and they're like, why did I talk to that person? Oh, because they're nice. People aren't robots. They're not just gonna, immediately be subject to like their subconscious thoughts. They usually reason. That's what I was talking about. Humans are the only people who are able to reason. So when you reason and think of the why, whenever you reason and you think of the reason behind things, you become more aware. Awareness is different from free will, because you become aware that you don't really have that much free will. And you can let that control you. You can let the fact that you don't really have that much free will completely control you. You can think like, oh, like it's not up to me. But really, everything is up to you. Because like I said, fate, I don't believe in fate. Fate is saying something down the line is always going to be bound to happen, when that's not a fact at all. The fact is that in this moment, you technically have free will, but after you make that decision, after you talk to that person, after you do that thing, you no longer have free will in that moment, because you look back and you notice that you only made that decision because of a cause. And those decisions can possibly have like a rolling effect down the line into what you eventually become. But that is not predetermined already. And spinning back to what I said at the start, whenever I was talking about things you can't control, like you can't control where you're born. You can't control like what your life is like in the first, like I would say 8 years of your life. You don't really have a control on that type of stuff. Like your brain is just not capable for that at that age. But the things you learn, like once you break that threshold of being able to pick things for yourself, think for yourself, once you break that threshold, you're going to be affected by like the motion that your life was in those earlier years of your life. So, for example, say you're super into Christianity, like all throughout your childhood. Great for you, man. Great for you. But say eventually you gain the competence to reason for yourself. You gain the competence to like question Christianity. You gain the competence to question the things around you in your life. You're always going to veer towards Christianity's side. You're always going to veer, or not necessarily, but you get what I'm saying. You have that background knowledge to initially, I would say initially, you start veering towards Christianity or different things in your life. It doesn't have to be religion. It could be certain values or morals that you were brought up in. But I'm just saying your earlier life is like a rock rolling down a mountain. I keep doing this, but I haven't explained the analogy. It's like a rock rolling down a mountain, and it finds like little grooves in the mountain that it goes down, and it's harder and harder for outside things to knock that rock off course, to knock it out of those grooves, because those things are so set deep down from the time you were born to the time that you can make your own decisions. So, the question is, do we really have free will? Well, the answer is nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's all theories. I've said my personal opinion. I don't think we really have that much free will. I think it's based on a lot of background things, but it's okay. I think that's a very freeing thing to know, that your decisions are based on past things, and having awareness of those past things is very important. Having awareness to the fact that you're choosing off of past circumstances makes everything seem less random. It makes it seem more structured instead of just like, oh, the pressure's all on me, because you will always make the same decisions that you, like if you went back in time, you would have always made those same decisions. So if you did really bad on a test, you did really bad, you did awful on a test, you would have always done awful on that test. You would have always made the same mistakes on that test because you would have made the same decisions if you went back in time. So don't think like, oh, if I went back in time, I would have just picked that answer. No, you wouldn't have. You would have always picked A, and you would have always been wrong. I think that is a great thing. My computer's just shut off. What is happening? Okay, we're back. But it's very easy to accept your past if you realize that free will isn't really that much of a thing. But it's all up to interpretation because, like I said, nobody really knows if it's completely a thing. Nobody knows if free will is completely free. But maybe the goal isn't to try to prove that free will is a thing. Maybe it's to live as if we do. Because if you believe that your choices matter as a person, which they do, you'll start acting like they do. And that might be the closest to freedom that us as humans will ever get. If that makes sense. I'm trying to make this make sense, but I'm really bad at it. Hopefully it does. Hopefully you like this video. Thank you so much for staying all the way through. It's a little bit of a yap session today compared to my usual videos. But please like, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys. There'll probably be videos popping up here. I love you guys. See you guys in the next one.